you're passionate about transforming retail operations and improving performance, plus you're accountable for key change projects and programs in your company, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Retail Transformation Show with me, Oliver Banks. Hello there, and thank you for joining me on episode 2 of the Retail Transformation Show. Now, last time you may remember we kicked off this new podcast and set the scene, but you also may remember that I left a major question hanging there at the end, didn't I? The big elephant that I left in the room was who I am, Oliver Banks, and perhaps more importantly, why you should care that I'm here or why you should engage me in discussions about retail operations and the future of the industry. So that's what we'll talk about today. So let's jump straight on in. As Simon Sinek tells us, let's start with why. So what is my why? Well, I love to make changes and improvements, or transformations if you will, to breathe new life, to breathe new longevity into something. Whether that's a particular focus on a retail brand or a retail operation, or even at home where I'm doing a major renovation. Now in particular, I'm energized about partnering with others to help them achieve meaningful changes so that they can live a more fulfilling and rewarding and satisfying life. Together, we overcome the toughest challenges and we can look back at where we've come from. You know, you can see that journey, a journey that perhaps doesn't seem possible to do, and you can deliver changes that perhaps at times seem against all of the odds. I love that challenge and the sense of achievement when you get to your end zone, ultimately making a big impact on the world and leaving it in a better place, more fit for the future. So basically, I totally love change and improvement and to see what it means for others. Now, I do this by working with retail businesses side by side to focus on making meaningful change together, finding the best way to make transformation happen by using new techniques or really challenging the status quo for how the process of change happens. Now, you may have heard that quote. It's often attributed to Albert Einstein, and it goes, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And it's also rumoured to be sort of Mark Twain or Henry Ford that once said that. So what's my background? Originally, I'm actually an engineer, a mechanical engineer. I really wanted to understand how things work, and engineering really fitted that bill when I was younger. Now, part of that engineering element was creating something new, as well as tweaking and optimizing something that's already there, really improving it. And I learned how to really understand the status quo, whether that's how a particular tangible thing from an engineering perspective is working, or what it needs to do from a requirements perspective, as well as adding data to support a direction and getting the buzz for eliminating errors and defects. Also, whilst I was originally in engineering, I started my Lean Six Sigma journey there, which is, again, something I'm really passionate about. First green belt and then black belt. One of the things that I really enjoyed about Lean Six Sigma, and still do enjoy, is thinking in a systems manner, logically understanding how different pieces fit together to form the whole. Now, I was in engineering, but I wanted to do something different, so I actually took a wider look at the marketplace for new opportunities. I wanted something fast-paced, something more consumer-facing, and you'll never guess, but retail fitted the bill. Surprise, surprise. Well, not really, actually. So it was time for me to transform and make a meaningful change. I joined the supply chain division for Tesco with an initial focus on replenishment and stock flow. Now, I think it was probably my first or second week, and by that stage I was working on a project around stock accuracy, and I taught myself Visual Basic programming. I'll come back to that in a minute. To do some really big data collection for a 24/7 piece of analysis. So yeah, I taught myself Visual Basic programming, and you do probably need to know I'm a bit of a geek. Sometimes a lot of a geek, actually. So I was doing this stock accuracy project, and it was in store, and I could see the process of collecting it, and we were recording exactly what it was to come in. And it kicked off on a Sunday afternoon. It was going to be for a full week, and the store was closed to customers at this stage. But I could start to see the data collection process going a little bit wrong. Not massively wrong, but I could see the signs and I needed to fix it. I could see it needed tweaking. I could see it needed improving. So Sunday afternoon, I was texting my wife then, a few hours later, saying I'm still alive and I'll be back home in a bit. And then a few hours later, it was still there. And before I knew it, it was daybreak, and I just pulled an all-nighter to get this thing sorted. So interesting start for a new job and a new direction, right? But you know what? I was hooked. I was hooked, and I've never looked back. Retail has really energized me since then. So I started off, as I say, in supply chain and focusing on improving store operations. From there, I did various roles in Tesco, including program managing the development and improvement for store warehouses across the UK and stock flow there. That's covering about 3,000 stores, so really big scale. And then I joined the internal consulting function there, taking on high-profile change programs within the business, including some really interesting pieces of work with multiple work streams and sub-programs. I loved my time at Tesco, don't get me wrong, and I learnt so many good skills from the importance of actually delivering, overcoming challenges in myself and building my confidence in what I wanted to do. But then, in 2015, it was time for me to transform once again and make another meaningful change. So I left Tesco and set up my own business, my own independent consulting business, OB&Co. And my aim is to work with large retail clients and brands to help them overcome the toughest retail challenges and work with their change initiatives or their change goals and help them achieve and deliver their strategies. Outside of work, as I hinted at earlier, I'm actually renovating our home. It's a 100-year-old house, and it's the second time I've taken on a major renovation project, so I do kind of like it. I'm pretty hands-on with DIY. I like to learn new skills myself and challenge myself to be able to make a remarkable home for my family. I'm married with 2 young kids, aged 3 and 6, and they give me a lot of focus, a lot of perspective, and give me a lot of energy, although sometimes demand a lot of energy as well. So I've picked up a set of really key skills along the way. The engineering side has given me a really in-depth, technical, logical approach to understanding problems, understanding systems. And then from retail, I've learned about the importance of keeping it simple, the importance of delivering change in a pragmatic way, and of course the importance of working in partnership with key stakeholders to get the job done. Now, I really enjoy retail because it's an industry that touches so many people. And it's not just the people that work in the business or the people that shop there either. It's those people, of course, but also all the people around them. Retail is so meaningful for people that it's worth talking about with friends and with family. I find that enthusiasm, that passion within those people really quite infectious. And I want to be part of improving retail to help improve the lives of millions of people. I love the fact that it's fast-paced. I love the fact that it's complicated and simple all at once. I know I've heard the phrase about retail, it's just putting beans on the shelf. Well, that's fine, but my guess is you're not working in a retail business where there's just one SKU, and also that you don't have to do anything once you put it on the shelf. So retail, once you get into it, has that complication, as you full well know. So I do adore doing exactly what I do, helping people to achieve their goals and moving their business forward to get ready for the future. And that's for their shareholders, for colleagues, and ultimately, of course, their customers and the people all around that group. So that's a bit about me. I'd love to know if you have any questions. You can find me on LinkedIn, Oliver Banks, or fire me an email. My email is oliver.banks@obandco.uk. And you can find both that email and my LinkedIn link in the show notes over at obandco.uk/002. Incidentally, I mentioned Simon Sinek earlier. And the original TED Talk of his, Start With Why, is one of my favourite videos of all time. In fact, I think it's actually one of the most successful TED Talks ever. So I will put a link to that in the show notes. I might even put the whole video in, actually. So you can go there and find it at obnco.uk/002. Now, 2 big asks just before we wrap up today. Number 1, please subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on the next episode. And number 2, please tell your colleagues about the Retail Transformation Show, particularly if they're in a place where they're in the retail industry, they're keen to make improvements and transformations to their retail operations. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, and I know I will too. So I thank you in advance for subscribing and telling your colleagues about the podcast. Join me next time, where we'll start to dive into more of the tangibles about retail transformation. So I'll see you then.